Memphis, Tennessee, a name that rolls off the tongue with a promise of rich history and vibrant culture. But in 1878, this city faced a nightmare. Yellow fever swept through, killing more than 5,000 people. It was like a dark cloud had settled over the city. Memphis was bankrupt. The city officials even took away its rights to govern itself. It was a hard time, a time when hope seemed far away, but from this darkness came a beacon of light. Robert Church, born to a white steamboat owner and a black mother, saw opportunity where others saw despair. After the fever struck, Church bought property at prices no one else would touch. He used his profits to revive the city. He opened a bank that lent money to people in need. Church became Memphis' first black millionaire, a trailblazer in the South. On Beale Street, the heart of Memphis' black music scene, life pulsed with energy. Workers who toiled in the cotton fields played music to escape their hardships. They jammed in juke joints, drinking cheap liquor, seeking joy in the midst of struggle. Sunnyland Slim, a blues musician, remembered those days. Memphis was a barrel house town, he said. It was the greatest place for scoundrels. Music was everywhere, from singers and guitarists playing at house parties to jug bands making music with bottles. Gus Cannon's Jug Stompers, for example, made the famous tune Walk Right In. Beale Street was alive with sound, a place where dreams and troubles intertwined. Politics and music mixed in interesting ways. In 1910, Ede Crump ran for office. To win, he needed a theme song. W.C. Handy wrote Mr. Crump, later known as Memphis Blues after George Norton, added lyrics. Louis Armstrong's recording made it famous. This song captured both the spirit and the rough edges of Beale Street. Memphis gave birth to legendary artists. Aretha Franklin, though raised in Detroit, was born in Memphis. Lizzie Douglas, known as Memphis Minnie, came from Louisiana but made her mark here. Big Bill Broonzy, with his powerful guitar, and Bobby Blue Bland, known for his gritty voice, were also products of this musical melting pot. Tina Turner, born in Nutbush just 30 miles away, and Sleepy John Estes, who passed away in Nutbush, added to the city's rich musical tapestry. Peter Chapman, known as Memphis Slim, was another star. Born in 1915, he played boogie-woogie piano and later found success in Paris during the British blues boom. His tall stature and long fingers made him stand out on stage. When he died in 1988, his body was brought back to Memphis, a fitting home for a blues legend. W.C. Handy, known as the father of the blues, wrote Beale Street Blues in 1916. Louis Armstrong's recording of it in 1954 was legendary. Armstrong said Handy's music was so good, the notes seemed to play themselves. The song painted a vivid picture of Beale Street, full of life but also its rough realities. Beale Street itself has changed over the years, but some places remain. A Schwab's dry goods store, once a place to buy voodoo potions, still sells Mojo hands for good luck. Piggly Wiggly, the first supermarket chain, started in Memphis, revolutionizing the way we shop. Clarence Saunders, the founder, believed in cheap prices and self-service. Though the chain failed, his ideas lived on. Memphis is also known for its quirky traditions. At the Peabody Hotel, 5 ducks waddle through the lobby twice a day, a sight that draws tourists. The city has inspired countless songs, from Chuck Berry's Memphis, Tennessee, to the Rolling Stones' Honky Tonk Women. In the 1940s and 1950s, Memphis continued to thrive as a music hub. Booker T and the MG. The city was a place where music was not just a job, but a way of life. Memphis' story is one of resilience, creativity, and a deep connection to music. From its dark days to its golden age of blues and soul, the city has always found a way to keep the rhythm going. In 1948, when Elvis was just 13 years old, the Presley family left their hometown of Tupelo, Mississippi, for Memphis. They packed their few belongings into a 1939 Plymouth and headed to a new life. Elvis later said they left because they were poor and things were tough in Tupelo. His dad, Vernon, found work at a paint factory, but couldn't work much because of a bad back. Elvis's mom, Gladys, was happy working as a nurse at a hospital. She was kind and caring, and people said she'd make a great nurse if she chose to study more. The family moved into a small apartment on a housing project. It was cramped with just one room and a shared toilet down the hall. Many families were in the same situation, living in tight spaces. Elvis continued going to school and even worked at a local cinema. Memphis was a city full of blues music, and Elvis got really into it. He spent time on Beale Street, listening and learning from the musicians. He loved bright colors and unique styles, often picking out clothes that stood out. At school, Elvis was different from other kids, but his friend Red West would protect him from bullies. Everyone knew Elvis could sing, and he often sang in school concerts. In 1951, his report card showed he struggled in subjects like English and history, but did well in woodwork. His dad, Vernon, thought Elvis should become an electrician since there weren't many guitar players he liked. This advice was similar to what Elvis's aunt told John Lennon about the guitar. Despite these challenges, Elvis graduated from high school. He worked various jobs, including as a cinema usher and for a tool company. He even might have worked at a factory connected to the military, though this is unclear. In a 1962 article, Elvis wrote about his early life, mentioning how his mom would take care of him late at night if he was worried. One important figure in Elvis's life was Samuel Phillips. Born in Alabama in 1923, Sam was 12 years older than Elvis. He started his own recording business in Memphis in 1950, called the Memphis Recording Service. Sam loved the raw, lively sounds of blues and R&B music. He wanted to capture these sounds in his recordings, believing they had a special energy. He recorded many local artists and even worked with big names like B.B. King and Howlin' Wolf. Sam saw himself as helping to bridge race gaps through music, believing he was doing something important. Sam's early ventures included a short-lived label and a single by Joe Hill Louie, but by 1952 he was ready to start Sun Records. His first successful record was an instrumental called Driven Slow by a young sax player. Around this time, Sam recorded an answer song to Big Mama Thornton's Hound Dog. This song, performed by Johnny Otis's band, was a hit. Big Mama's powerful version of Hound Dog became a huge R&B hit. The song showcased the blend of country, gospel, and blues that shaped rock and roll. Artists like Eric Clapton, influenced by these roots, would later become great fans of this music style. Let's talk about a fascinating journey in music, focusing on Sun Records and how it changed the landscape of music forever. This story is about how a small record label in Memphis became a giant, and how it helped launch the careers of some legendary musicians. Sam Phillips started Sun Records in a time when music was changing fast. He was brave and willing to take risks. Instead of just focusing on one type of music, he said, "We record anything, anywhere, anytime." This meant anyone could come to his studio and record their songs for just $4. It was like a magical door that opened for musicians who didn't think they had a chance. Before Elvis Presley came along, Sun Records was already making waves. Rufus Thomas had a hit with Hound Dog, which was actually written by another singer, Big Mama Thornton. But Don Roby, who owned the record label, got upset because he thought it was too similar to his own singer's style. This kind of thing happened often with songs that sounded alike but were sung by different people, which is why Sam had to deal with copyright issues later. Then came Johnny Bragg, a young man with a tough story. He was wrongfully accused of rape and ended up in a brutal prison. Despite everything, he discovered his love for music. While working in prison, he and other inmates formed a group called the Prisonaires. They sang beautiful spiritual songs, which caught the ear of Hank Williams. He even offered Bragg a song for $5, which later became a big hit, "Your Cheating Heart." While all this was happening, Sam Phillips was busy discovering new talent. He recorded Little Junior Parker, who wrote Mystery Train, based on an older song by the Carter family. Phillips also helped local people record their voices for the first time, something very few labels did back then. This personal touch helped build a loyal community around Sun Records. Now, let's talk about Elvis Presley. Elvis was a young man who loved music but dreamed of sounding like Dean Martin, not realizing how unique his voice was. On July 18, 1953, he walked into Sun Records. His friend gave him money to make a record, curious if it might get played on the radio. Elvis went in, not knowing what to expect. Sam Phillips and his secretary, Marion Kasker, asked him what kind of voice he had. Elvis said he didn't sound like anyone else, which was mostly true. He was being humble, but maybe just a little bit shy about his uniqueness. Elvis sang into the recording machine without any pressure, just enjoying the moment. The result was the start of something incredible. This simple act marked the beginning of Elvis's journey to stardom. Sun Records became a place where dreams came true. It showed that music could bridge gaps and give people a voice, no matter their background. From Rufus Thomas to Johnny Bragg and from Elvis to countless others, this small label in Memphis changed the music world forever. It's a reminder that sometimes all it takes is a chance to share your story, your voice, and your music with the world.